Welcome to the Manifesting Doll podcast. I'm Barbara Orban from No Diet Babe. I'm a spiritual mindset coach and weight loss expert. If you are a spiritual babe wanting to up-level your life around your body, health, wellness, spirituality, law of attraction and manifestation, then this is the podcast for you. I'm here to give you the tools, teachings, and strategies to manifest the body and life of your dreams. As spiritual babes, we know to focus on love as opposed to fear. So get ready to learn how to implement spiritual teachings to weight loss, wellness, and your daily life, coming from a place of love and abundance. This is a celebration of how we can shift our inner perception of ourselves and watch our outer selves shift. You can become the best version of yourself, and I'm here to help. So let's get started. Hey babes, welcome to today's episode. I hope you're having a lovely weekend. It's actually really, really nice weather here, so I'm really enjoying this great weather that's been going on. So anyway, today I wanted to talk about something about getting started. So I know that I'm going to still do an episode on macros. I really want to do an episode on that and explain what macros are and all of that stuff. But I want to talk more about some psychology stuff and manifestation stuff. Basically, because my 3-day manifest weight loss course is still available for the price of $100 off. So the price is actually going up $100 from 24 hours from now. So on the 15th of October, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So check it out if you haven't already done so. If you haven't already signed up, I highly, highly recommend this course for you if you're trying to lose weight. Also, even if you have any eating issues such as binge eating, emotional eating, the principles of the course are still going to help you because it's still based on the energy around food and the energy around your body and shifting those. So it's an amazing course. I've had so much positive feedback about it, and I just know that it's going to help so many of you lose weight and keep it off and have more of a freedom lifestyle, freedom with food, and just be happy. And so I really want this stuff to get out there because I just don't think that there's a lot of law of attraction and food stuff out there and focusing on the mindset. So anyway, that's what the topic is about today. I'm going to be talking about the reason why you never get started. So what this means is you may be one of those people that's had a weight loss goal for years now, but maybe you have started in the past or you've even succeeded and then gained it back. And I want to talk about why we sometimes never get started. So maybe you're at a point now where you're waiting for yourself, your brain to just actually get motivated to get started. And I'm going to explain why you can't get started and what's actually sabotaging you and how you can shift that to be able to finally get on track with your goals. So basically with manifestation, when we're talking about the law of attraction, generally when we talk about the language that we're using when we talk about manifestation, we always try and put affirmations into the positive state. So what that means is if you're saying, I don't want to be fat, your brain's not recognizing the don't. So essentially what it's saying is, I want to be fat. That's what the affirmation is recognizing. And what this means is that you always have to be thinking in the current situation, meaning you might say, I am looking for, what am I trying to say? I am going to lose weight, and then, or I am going to make X amount of dollars, right? And then you're always going to be doing that, right? For example, like I was saying in the other podcast too, when you get in that fixing mindset, because remember, like attracts like, so you have to be a vibrational match to what it is that you want. And so when we're saying, you know, I'm in the fixing mindset, I'm fixing my weight, I'm fixing my health issues, you're not a vibrational match to actually getting there. And I'm going to explain from kind of like a scientific point of view or a psychology point of view why this actually is, because it's not just about the law of physics. It's actually too, like, it's a very like a biological thing, in the sense that knowing and understanding how your brain functions, right? Because the way your brain functions, like I was saying in the other episode, is basically each day you're on autopilot a lot of the time. So your brain has got lots of background things going on that they just are on repeat. So it's kind of like the program is running in the background, and it's the same program that you pull up every day. Like, you've put the CD in and that you press play. That's what I was saying the other day. But like what this means from like the law of attraction, like attracts like, etc. I'm going to explain that in terms of why you tend to never get started with weight loss. And one of the things that I heard somebody say the other day, and I picked up on what their thought patterns are, was, you know, because I pulled somebody up on it, and I said, let me guess, you're always saying to yourself, whenever you get the feeling that you feel fat, or whenever you get the feeling of I should lose weight, let's say the trigger comes up, you've got many triggers, I bet, and you might be trying on clothes, or you catch your reflection in the mirror, or you, whatever, like you're trying on your clothes and they feel tight. And then you have a thought of, I'm going to fix this, right? I'm going to fix this, after the initial thought of like feeling bad or whatever. Then you're like, I'm going to fix this. And then the next thought is, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll plan to start on Monday or whatever. And maybe you actually do get into that starting mode, and you actually go, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get started. Now, then you wonder why, like the days go by, and then you're like, why don't I actually ever get started? Or I sabotage it somehow. And the reason why is because you're not actually aware of the thoughts that are guiding your behaviors. Because we don't just run around doing things like behaviors. There's a process that goes on in our brain that determines our behavior, and it's our thought patterns that determine that. So if you haven't changed your thought patterns, your behavior is not going to change long term. And that's how manifestation works as well, because we're changing the thought patterns and then the outcome changes. But it's also just from a scientific perspective true too, and like psychology. This is like cognitive behavioral therapy as well. That's how they work to shift certain behaviors and anxiety and depression and things like that. And it's just all coming back to the thinking. Now, the thinking, if you actually have awareness of your thought patterns, they're highly repeated. Like, you'll notice the same sort of shit going on. And like I was saying, like having that detachment from your brain and looking at it and going, what the hell is going on? That's really important, to be able to detach yourself from it and to not take your thoughts as reality all the time, not be kind of living your life believing your thoughts, right? That's the worst place you can be in, is if you're living your life believing every thought that you think, because you're going to have negative thoughts. We all have negative thoughts, right? So you have to get your place to a bit of separation from your brain, right? And looking inwards and looking at what's going on. And what you'll notice is that when you have this repeating thought pattern of, I'm going to start tomorrow, or I'm going to start on Monday, when you have that thought repeats itself. So when Monday comes around, or when tomorrow comes around, that thought is still playing. I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to start tomorrow. You still always have that thought because you haven't actually changed the thought, hence why the behavior can't change. Because Monday comes around and then you're still thinking, I'm going to start tomorrow. You're still thinking in the forward thinking, as in I'm pushing it away, I'm pushing it, I'm delaying it. Then your habit becomes delaying things, like you're procrastinating, or you're never going to be the person that just does it, right? So you have to start with the thoughts. You always have to start with the thoughts, not trying to just push yourself to change the behavior, because it's a waste of time unless you change the thinking behind it, right? So you'll notice that and just start to have more awareness of yourself going, I'm going to do that tomorrow. It's not to say you can never do that tomorrow, right? Consciously, you might say, I'm going to do that tomorrow. But what I'm talking about is the subconscious stuff. It's the repeating stuff that happens all the time that's driving the way that you behave. And this takes repeating to reprogram that. And so I want you to become more aware of where you still think, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to do that on Monday, right? And even if you're not changing the action yet, you should be focusing on changing the thoughts. And maybe like with the law of attraction and manifestation, that's why positive affirmations are there. So you might, for example, have a positive affirmation like, I maintain my desired weight easily, right? I maintain my desired weight easily. And then that, first of all, might trigger you in some ways, and the emotion that you're feeling when you say that particular affirmation isn't really making you feel good, because affirmations are only going to work if they make you feel good, right? But the thing is, you can actually repeat an affirmation enough times where you do start to believe it. But sometimes it's easier to take like a step towards the affirmation, whereby you might add something like, I'm choosing to believe this affirmation, blah, 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 blah. There's lots of different techniques to get around that critical part of your mind that's saying, no, that's not true, that's not true. But in terms of that thought pattern and changing that thought pattern of that habit of getting started tomorrow, starting next week with your weight loss, is that even if you're not taking action right now, don't even think about the action just yet. Just start changing that thought pattern. So when you notice the thought pattern, I'm going to get started tomorrow, change it to, I'm taking action right now. And yes, eventually you'll get to the point where you're like, I am at my desired weight. But as a stepping stone, just to shift you from not taking action and procrastinating to actually being able to take action in an aligned way, not in a forceful way, is to just say to yourself and change that pattern of thinking of, I am already taking action. I'm already doing it. It's already happening, right? And that's the thought pattern that you want to have, is to say, yeah, I'm already doing it. I'm already on my way. Like, success is inevitable. I'm already there. And just to change that from I'm going to do this to I'm already doing it. Even if you're not doing it, just it sounds silly to say just pretend, but this isn't about pretending. It's about changing your thought patterns so that your behaviors start changing as a result of your thought patterns changing, because that's how our brains work. That's why so many people have trouble changing their behaviors, because they don't understand that, like, scientifically, your behaviors are coming from your thoughts, and your thoughts are on repeat each day, and you're probably not listening to them. right? So what you have to do is just go back and have awareness of what's going on in your brain. And like I was saying, can't remember which episode it was, but yeah, like you've got to just, I think it was the having confidence with manifestation. And I was talking about how you've got to like just detach yourself from your thoughts and start observing them. But basically, yeah, with the weight loss stuff, you want to shift from I'm going to get started to I'm already doing it. And then you'll notice that in the moment, instead of binge eating on something because you're going to start tomorrow, you'll go, well, I'm already doing it. So you might say, right, I'm going to eat 5 slices of cheesecake or something. I don't know what you're binging on. But then you because you've got that repeating thought pattern of I'm already doing it, eventually the behavior of not binge eating is going to stop because you've reinforced the binge eating because you've always said to yourself, I'm going to start tomorrow. So then you've given yourself permission to binge eat now. But in reality, because you've given yourself permission to binge eat now, that's who you are. You're just a repeat of every action you take, right? So you've got to start with the thought, not the behavior, because you can't just be like, I'm going to stop binge eating and then force yourself to stop binge eating. You've got to stop. You've got to change the tape that's in your head saying, I'm going to start tomorrow. And that's it. It's just that you've got a tape in there. You've got a little thought pattern in there that's got a habit of starting tomorrow or starting on Monday. And you've just got to be aware of it and catch it in the moment and go, oh, I've noticed just then that I had that thought again. Let me just change that to, I'm already doing it. I'm already on my way, right? And the outcome is inevitable. And these are the things that you just start saying to yourself on repeat each time that comes up. And that's how you're going to start actually getting started with your goals, because you've already become a vibrational match to the person that's already doing it. You're already doing it. And then from then you can take a stepping stone, because already then you've like increased your confidence a little bit because you are on track. Your brain is on your side now. And then you can shift it to, I am this person, right? I am already there. That this is who I am now. And that's how you use manifestation in your brain to get started with your weight loss journey, your weight loss manifestation, right? So the other thing I wanted to talk about was people generally have like this massive fear of failure, right? And that's another reason why they don't get started, because number one, they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe they're capable of actually achieving the outcome. And that's been reinforced by failures in the past or regaining the weight back. So it becomes quite a solid belief there. The other thing that people tend to do that I've noticed that is they worry about how long it's going to take. And that these are two massive things that I just want to talk about, because first of all, with failure, failure is just an illusion, right? Because unless you die, you can't really fail, because you could say to me, right, for example, how many times have I lost weight and gained it back? So many times, right? I've lost and gained weight so many times. And then you could have looked at me at my heaviest and said to me, you're a failure. But then now fast forward to a few years later and I'm not. So, and the funny thing is that everybody forgets what I used to be like, because people just don't care that much about you. They they're too busy worried about themselves or other things. Like, people don't notice stuff that goes on as much as you think. Like, reality is always better than your thoughts, pretty much, because you're thinking, if you're really listening to the ego and the critical part of your mind, it makes out things to be really, really bad. And so you might be thinking, oh, this person thinks I'm a slob, or everybody's looking at me and everybody's criticizing me. The reality is they're probably not. And even if they are, it's not to the extent that you always think it is, or it's not happening as often as you think it is, right? Because that's how our brain works. That's what happens, is like it's always thinking of the worst. And it's always, it's not in a bad way, it's just trying to protect you. But yeah, in regards to failing, right, there's no such thing, because then you'd look at me now and forget that I've been through failures. So when you look at the outcome and you think that person didn't have any hiccups along the way, that's not true. Even like you look at a celebrity, or like even Oprah or someone, like they've been turned down before. They've been rejected before. They've failed at things before, right? And so they still got successful. So in comparison to weight loss, right, is like you look at me, and there was so many times that I failed, but I didn't stop. I didn't give up. I just kept on going. So not starting is worse than making mistakes. Like, you're going to make mistakes. Maybe you'll lose a bit of weight and gain a bit of weight, which is normal anyway to a certain extent. Maybe you'll gain weight first. I don't know. Like, there's no such thing as failure. Like, you've just got to try. You've just got to do it. And like, because the problem is that when you have so much focus on the outcome and so much desperation about the outcome of losing weight, and I've noticed when people want to lose weight really, really quickly, they're in the wrong energy. Because it's coming from an energy of lack, and it's coming from an energy of, I have to have this in order to be happy. But that's not how law of attraction works. You have to be happy. Like, you have to just surrender and basically say, I trust that everything's going to work out. I'm surrendering. There has to be an aspect of surrendering. And so if you're in that energy of, I have to lose weight really quickly, I can feel that energy as I'm not comfortable where I am now. And that little tweak of energy is still not going to help you achieve what you want to achieve. So in terms of like that fear of failure and all of that, you have to kind of detach from the outcome and detach. Basically, your self-worth needs to come away from your weight, because it's heavily dependent on your weight right now. If you're worried about fear of failure around weight, your self-worth is so tied up in your weight. And that's the issue, is you have to detach the weight and the self-worth in order to get over that fear of failure. And eating behaviors as well, not just your weight. So like when you're binge eating, or when you have something like, quote, bad to eat, like that's coming from fear of failure, because like, as in when you feel bad about it, because your self-worth is tied up in the way that you're eating. And it's so tied up in this image that you have to be perfect, and you know, like, I'm a clean eater and I go to the gym and I never have anything bad to eat and I never overeat kind of stuff. And that's so tied into your self-worth. That's why there's the fear of failure. So the key is to really learn to detach your self-worth from these things and just accept yourself as just a normal human being with normal issues that pretty much everyone struggles with. So that's how you get over that fear of failure. The same thing applies with worrying how long it's going to take. It's all the same thing. It's like, number one, if you're worried how long it's going to take, you associate weight loss with suffering. Because why would you be wanting to speed up the process if I say to you it's going to take you a year and you're like, oh my God, a whole year of suffering. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, time passes either way. So if you've been sitting here trying to lose weight for the last 5 years and you're worried about it taking a year, like, it's just a play on your mind. Like, it's honestly just, your mind is just, you got to just understand and detach yourself from your head and look at it from a different perspective and go, why am I doing this? Like, why? And not in a judgmental way, in a curious way. Like, why am I doing this? How can I shift this perspective of mine? And instead of worrying about how long it's going to take, like they always say, you got to fall in love with the journey, right? Time passes either way. So are you going to be in this exact same place in a year, or are you going to be at your goal weight in a year? Because time's going to pass either way. So it's up to you if you're going to let the thoughts of how long it's going to take overwhelm you. Because overwhelm is not really a vibrational match to the outcome that you want. Because when you're at the outcome that you want, you're not going to be overwhelmed, are you? So you've got to understand that overwhelm is just a self-sabotaging pattern. And when you catch yourself being overwhelmed, you talk yourself out of being overwhelmed, because you don't have to worry about the how. That's what manifesting is. How in terms of weight loss? I mean, yes, you're going to have an understanding of how weight loss occurs. You have to be in a calorie deficit, like I've said that before, but you're not going to be when they say let go of the how in manifestation, what that actually means is let go of the overwhelm. Let go of needing to know every single step. Let go of controlling every minute little thing. Why? Because it's messing with your alignment. It's messing with your ability to feel good. And therefore, you're not a vibrational match to what you want. That's why there's so much emphasis on not worrying about the how. Because worrying about the how is literally overwhelm. You're literally in anxiety about how you're going to eat and how you're going to lose weight and how it's all going to fall into place, right? And so that's what is meant by not focusing on the how. And when you're worrying about how long it's going to take, you're not a vibrational match to what you want, like the outcome of weight loss, right? And being at your goal weight. And so you have to let go. You have to let go of it needing to take a particular amount of time. And it's not that you can't set goals of like, I want to do X, Y, Z in 3 months and I want to lose this much weight by then. It's not that you can't do that. It's just that for me personally, whenever I did that, the energy sometimes shifted for me. And I went into an energy of fear and discipline as opposed to love and confidence that it was going to work out, right? So it all depends. It's not like you can never set a timeline. It's just that you have to be aware of your energy and how the way you choose to do it is impacting your energy and your ability to stay in alignment. That's pretty much all it is. Because for me, timelines are just, timelines are basically, when you start thinking about how long it's going to take, that's actually a moment where you need to accept where you are now. That's pretty much all it is. You're pretty much in that moment so repulsed by the way you are now, you can't handle being in that body, in this body right now. That's why you're having so much resistance around worrying about how long it's going to take, because you see where you are now as such a bad thing. And you have to shift that perspective from it being such a bad thing to being okay. And that's pretty much what you have to do in order to be a vibrational match to what you want. So yeah, anyway, I hope that was helpful for you today. Just to get you on track with your weight loss manifestation. And now to take things further, to keep this going, to, learn the next steps, to learn all of the things that you need to know to shift your energy around the food and the weight stuff and to get yourself manifesting weight loss, then you need to get into the 3-day weight loss manifestation course. And like I said, before the 15th, you've got, you save $100. Like, get it done. Seriously. It's like such a small investment for what kind of an outcome you get from doing this course and applying the principles that I teach. Like, it's a no-brainer, guys. Like, come on. Seriously. Like, it's going to help you so much. And I really, really hope that today's episode helped you, because I know that there's a lot of you out there that do have these thought patterns. And like, I just want to help you so much. Like, I just want you to see that it's all just about changing your thought patterns and your beliefs and your feelings. And that's how you manifest anything that you want in life, is to be the master of your mind. And you can. And I know that put it this way, I have had thoughts that I'm not capable of doing it. And again, that's just a thought. That's another thought that you think that you don't need to take as reality, just like all the other thoughts, right? So do not worry, okay? You've got this, and enjoy your week, and let's get off to a great start by doing the 3-day Manifest Weight Loss course. And I can't wait to hear about how you go with it. And yeah, send me a message if this episode helped you today. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, if you can, leave me a review on iTunes. That would really help me grow this podcast and help more and more people with my message. So anyway, I will see you babes in the next episode. Okay, bye. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you loved this episode, I'd love for you to leave me an iTunes review. Don't forget to follow this podcast for more uplifting teachings to come. For more tips, inspiration, and teachings, come follow me on Instagram at NoDietBabe, or check out my website, nodietbabe.com. Until I see you next time, babes, lots of love.